Yeah. So today's session we are talking about something called stored procedures in a SQL Server. Okay. So what is stored procedure? How do we work with or how do we create a stored procedure and how to execute the stored procedure after creating it and where do we use the stored procedures? Pros and cons, advantages. Okay. All these we are going to discuss. Let us see the topics now. Today we are talking about what is stored procedure and why we use stored procedure, syntax, how to create a stored procedure, how to execute. Because there are some steps actually. First, we need to create a stored procedure. After that, you need to execute it. Then only the code inside the stored procedure is getting executed. And then we'll see the different types of stored procedures, and we will see something called stored procedures with parameters and without parameters. Okay. And the last one is stored procedure with the out type parameter. Actually, there are two types of parameters, in type and out type. By default, all the parameters are in type, but if you give out keyword explicitly, that will become out type parameter in a stored procedure. SP means stored procedure. Okay. Yeah. So what is stored procedure? It's a pre-compiled collection of one or more SQL statements stored inside the SQL server. So what is meant by pre-compiled? So once you write a stored procedure, whatever code we wrote inside the stored procedure is getting compiled after creating the stored procedure, and whenever you execute the stored procedure, it will never compile it again because it's already pre-compiled. It will execute directly. That is why it is faster than writing queries individually. So that is why we always recommend you to write a stored procedure, and there we write some set of statements inside a procedure. Procedure is nothing but like a program, guys. Whatever C# program we wrote it, right? C# program, Java program, whatever, Python program. When we have multiple statements together, you are writing for a purpose and you are returning some value at the end of it, or you are displaying some output. You are executing some logic and you are performing some operation, and finally you are displaying result. That is what will be done by a stored procedure. Okay, in short, some people will call it as procedure, guys. If anyone says procedure, do you know what is procedure in SQL? Exactly, stored procedure only. Do not get confused between procedure and stored procedure. Okay, but in SQL Server, we have to call it as stored procedure only because here uh, there are some predefined stored procedures available in SQL Server, like something called SP underscore help. Guys, do you remember this SP underscore help?
Is
Yeah. So what is the purpose of SP underscore help? Do you remember? Like in order to display the uh, you know tables properties, complete attributes of how many columns we have in a table. Is there any
primary
primary key constraints? Okay, data types. There are range or constraints available, and indexes, views, everything about the table will be displayed if you say sp underscore help space table name. Okay, let me show you. Let us switch to our what you call SQL Server Management Studio. Let us go to our database. Use tsql db, whatever is there existing database that I'm going to use now. I switch it to the database. Yes, and I want to see how many tables are there in this sp underscore tables. Let us select this. What is this sp underscore tables? It is giving you all the tables available in the database. Okay. So whatever database, whatever tables we have inside database, it will display. Okay, you can see here. See guys, these are all tables. Of course, we have only two tables, employees and students. You can see here DBO. This is the table owner. T-SQL DB is the database name. So these are all system tables. Whichever is having sys owner is said to be predefined tables, guys. These are not created by us. These are all predefined. And these are also to be others. So views also available. We'll discuss what are views later. But if you see this sp underscore tables, If you type it and if you execute, you will see the list of tables first. Whatever tables we created so far. Yesterday I created two tables, employees table and students table. Those are available. Those are able to be displayed. Okay, I want to know how many columns are there in my employees table, and is there any constraints created attached to each and every column? I wanted to know. For that, you can use something called sp underscore help. Okay, sp underscore help space table name. So my table name is employees. I'm giving. Of course, you can see the same thing for students also. Let us execute and see, guys. See guys, whenever I say sp underscore help space employees, it is displaying all the properties of my employees table. You can see here name of the table, object, database object, employees table, and who is the owner for this employees table DBO, and what is this? What type of object is it? Is it a table or is it a view? Is it an index? Is it stored position? Like that, it will give you the details. Like this is called as user table, and on which date it was created. See the columns: ID, name, salary. What type of data type we have? Identity column is there or not. We don't have identity column for this ID column, so that it is not showing anything. And index, you can see here index. Okay, indexes and constraints. How many constraints are there in the table? Like as we have primary key constraint, you can see here pk underscore employee. This is the name of the primary key constraint. All are displayed just because of sp underscore help. So what is this sp underscore help and sp underscore table? These sp underscore tables and sp underscore help are predefined stored procedures. Okay, it is a stored procedure. It is a predefined stored procedure to display all the tables in my database in the current database. Same thing. Yeah, same thing to this. Okay, it is a predefined stored procedure. SP stored procedure to display, excuse me, all the properties of properties means columns, everything. Properties of employees table means it will display columns, constraints, data types, etc. So everything. So what are these sp underscore? Wherever you see sp underscore in SQL Server, those are all called as stored procedures only. But can we create our own stored procedure? Yes, it is possible. So what is stored procedure? It's a collection of statements, and you can see the definition here, and it will have some, okay, statements, and it will perform some operation, guys. That is what you can see here. It can accept parameters. Of course, you can pass some parameters, just like a method. Functions, we call them as functions, right, in C sharp. Same way, we can pass parameters to a stored procedure, and you can perform an operation and return some results. But remember guys, we are not using return keyword inside stored procedure. We cannot return a value explicitly like a function. We shouldn't use return type, okay? And we should not use return keyword inside a stored procedure. But we can return. How do we return? We'll discuss later. So stored procedure is a set of statements. It's a pre-compiled collection of statements stored inside SQL Server. It will be stored. That is why the name is stored procedure. So what is meant by storing? It is not storing data like table. Table will store the data, but stored procedure will store the statements only. What are the statements? Can be insert statement, update statement, delete statement, select statement. Whatever you write, it will be stored. Why are we storing statements? Because every statement that you write and execute, I mean, if you are writing three statements and if you execute them first time, every statement is getting compiled, guys. Three statements I wrote it, I executed. Three times it will compile. Sir, tomorrow again I am executing. Then tomorrow also three times it will compile because it is having three statements. And every time when you execute, since it is interpreter, what is meant by interpreter? A line by line execution will be done so that it will execute every time when you, it will compile every time when you execute. That is why it will be delayed. But if you go to stored procedure, since it is a pre-compiled, if you create a stored procedure today with three statements, first time it will compile, and second time onwards when you are executing stored procedure, it never compile it again because it's already compiled. At the time of creating a stored procedure itself, it will compile and keep it aside. Next time onwards, whenever you execute the procedure, it will never compile again. It will execute the directly statement so that it is obviously faster. Okay, when do we use it? If you are doing, yesterday I told you something about CRUD operations, guys. Do you remember CRUD operations? Tell me the full form of CRUD.
Create, read, update.
Yeah, very good. Create, read, update, and delete. For that, if you are doing any CRUD operations, we use stored procedures. That is the important point. Okay. So let us see what else we can do with the stored procedures. So advantages. I mean, why do we use stored procedures? Reusing SQL code. As I told you earlier, we create a stored procedure yesterday. Today we are just executing. We are reusing them because we want to perform the same operation again and again. Then we go for stored procedure, reusing SQL code. Improving security. So we are not exposing the table's information directly to the user. This is very, very important point, guys. Okay. We always call a stored procedure from your backend code. Backend code means your C sharp code or Java code or Python code. We never directly interact with the table so that it is better, it is secured compared with the raw SQL statement. That is why we always prefer writing stored procedure and then calling the stored procedure for CRUD operations. Any insert statement we write inside the stored procedure and we call the stored procedure. We never directly execute the stored procedure, directly execute the insert or update statement or delete statements. Reducing repeated code. Yeah, whatever code we are writing, we need not repeat it. It will reduce because only one time we are creating procedure and we are calling. And it will accept input parameters. You can read parameters like if I give my employee ID, I should get my other details like name, salary, all other details I wanted to display. That is said to be accepting input parameters. And performing CRUD operation. That is what I told you. Insert, update, delete, select. These are all said to be main purpose of creating stored procedures. And then implementing business logic. This is what the important thing, guys. In interviews, they will ask you what is the difference between a function and a stored procedure. This is the most commonly asked question in interviews. There, uh, how do you differentiate procedure and function? Means function is a group of statements which returns, a value or a table in SQL Server. But whereas when it comes to stored procedure, it's a group of statements and it is meant for executing a business logic. Okay, so that is the important point you need to say. Handling transactions and error handling. Transaction means we have seen it already. Commit, rollback, save point, all this. We can execute inside the stored procedure and we can do exception handling, error handling also. That these are the reasons why we go for stored procedures. Now we are switching to hands-on. So how to create a stored procedure? In order to create a stored procedure in SQL Server, you have to follow the syntax. What is the syntax actually? Create procedure, procedure name. So what is the procedure name you want to give? You can give it, but it's always recommended to use SP underscore and then procedure name is your wish. Because SQL Server naming convention always says that you have to use SP before SP underscore before the stored procedure so that you will understand that okay, this is a stored procedure. So easy for you to understand. Just like we have discussed some predefined stored procedures, right? Like SP underscore help, SP underscore rename, SP underscore tables. Like that, for everything we have some predefined stored procedures. Names will be always, naming conventions will be always preceded with SP underscore. So our own stored procedure also should be SP underscore and then procedure name is your wish. So create procedure name as is a new keyword that we need to add, and begin and end is common. Begin is for beginning a block and end is for ending a block, just like curly brace open and close that we have seen in C# program. And then SQL statements. You can write any select query here, or you can write any other statement, insert, update, delete, whatever. Okay, so that is all about the syntax. Example. See, we have an example of a table. We have a table called employees table. Already we have created table in our database, right? Yesterday, same table, which contains employee ID, name, department, and salary. We have some records also, rows also already inserted. On this, how to create a stored procedure. So what is stored procedure? It is a group of statements, SQL statements, which are performing some operation on tables. It is not for creating table or any other. It is not for creating, guys. We have already table or any other object that on the table I want to perform some operation. For that reason, we are creating a stored. So how do you create? I want to display all the records from my employees table. What do we write generally? Select star from employees so that you'll get all the records from employees table. But now what are we doing? We are creating a stored procedure called sp underscore get all employees, and inside that, as begin end, this is the syntax that we are following. Inside that, I'm writing select star from employees. Sir, why are you wasting time? Directly, you can write select star from employees, right? Then why are you creating a stored procedure unnecessarily? All the stuff is lengthy process. Okay, that is what you might have a question in yourselves. But the problem is, if you write select star from employees without a stored procedure, every time when you are running select star from employees, it will go compile and execute. But if you write like this, if you create a stored procedure, what is the advantage? Number one, whatever statements you are writing inside begin and end inside the stored procedure will not be compiled every time. Only first time it will be compiled. That is said to be it is pre-compiled. Next time onwards, just it will execute the statement, execute the procedure. Procedure will execute all the statements without compiling so that it is obviously faster. And what are the advantages of writing stored procedures? You can write multiple statements. You may not have only one statement, guys. You might have select star for employees, followed by next line you can write select star for department. Like that, you can write two or more statements inside the stored procedure. Okay. And then after creating this stored procedure, what to do? We need to execute. How to execute? We have a keyword called execute. Execute space sp underscore get all employees. I mean procedure name. So you can write in shortcut, guys. The first four letters is also fine. Exec, exec space sp underscore get all employees. Then you will get the output. That is said to be all the records of employees table will be displayed. Let us check it out how it is working. Let's create a stored procedure now. So what is the first step? Creating a stored procedure. So create procedure name sp underscore get all employees. That is what I wrote it as begin and so inside this, of course, you can write begin transaction and end transaction like that. Right now, I'm not writing because it is a select statement. So select star from you can write inside in a single line, guys. Employees. Of course, you can write one more statement also together, like select star from department. If you have department table, you can write it. We don't have department table, right? Student table is there. Students. Okay. Yeah. So I have written two statements. Of course, the procedure is get all employees, right? It is not good to keep this, but you can write it, guys. You try this. Okay. But try to display related tables. Okay. As I said, you select star from employees and department. Create a department table. Your task is create department table, insert some records like, I mean, columns. You should have columns like department ID and department name. You create it, insert some sample records. After that, you do this. Okay. So let us run it. So what are we doing now? We have successfully created stored procedure. Created. We haven't executed. It will not give you any output, guys. Just it is showing command completed successfully. Then how do we get the output of the statement? Only when you execute this procedure, then only you are able to see the output of this. So how to execute or run the procedure? Executing the stored procedure. How to do this? You can hit exec or execute completely. It's your wish. Exec or execute. And then sp underscore. Okay. Whatever you have, you write it. Sp underscore get all employees. See, guys, whenever I say sp, I'm getting so many predefined procedures. Now, execute. You're getting the output. This is the way that you can create a stored procedure and execute the stored procedure. See, guys, I got all the records from employees table. Okay. So similar way you need to, your task is you have to create a stored procedure, and that stored procedure should have the records. It should display data from two tables. As I said, you need to use two tables like employees and departments together. So that's all about this example. Is it clear, Maheshwari?
Yes.
Are you understanding?
Yes.
So we are creating a stored procedure and then we are executing the stored procedure. So how to modify? Suppose if I want to update, okay. So if you want to update, what to do? You can say alter procedure name. For example, I want to modify this with some condition. Okay, I want to display only uh, uh, you know salary above 1 lakh. Then how to modify? Select star from employees where salary greater than 1 lakh. Like that, I can modify here, right? But how to modify this procedure? You need to use alter statement, modifying or updating stored procedure. How to update? Just you need to use alter statement. Just copy this, paste it, just write alter here. Alter procedure name, whatever existing procedure name is there, same procedure. But this time I'm saying select star from employees where a salary greater than 1 lakh. Okay, so that is what I'm giving here. Salary greater than 1 lakh. Yeah, so this is what I wrote it, and I'm just executing this. Yes, completed successfully. Command completed successfully. Now execute the stored procedure. This time, I'll not get all the records from the table. I'll be getting only two rows because two rows only having salary greater than 1 lakh. So that is how I can modify the code inside the stored procedure after creating a stored procedure. After creating, I realized that I need to modify them. Okay. So in that case, we go for this, guys. Okay. Yeah. So next we will see one more example on how to insert a new record into my employees table. How to remove a stored procedure, guys? Any guess? How to remove a table? How to remove a table completely from memory, from database? Aishwari, any guess?
Gordon is a drop.
Drop command. So here drop procedure name sp underscore what is this procedure name? Get all employees. So if you say this, drop procedure name, it will remove the procedure, guys. It will not remove the table. Your table will remain same. If you say select star from employees, you will get all the records. Your records are very safe. There is no problem with. Okay, your data and your records will be happily available. There is no problem. See, guys, your data is safe. There is no problem with your data and table. See, guys, the records are there. Only procedure got removed. Okay, that is the table removing the procedure. So the first step is creating a procedure is done. How to create a stored procedure, then how to execute, because after creating it will not give you any result. Just you create a database object called stored procedure inside database. After that you have to execute with the execute statement, and then if you want to modify you have to use alter, and finally if you want to remove you can use drop statement. Okay, now so what is the next step? Next step is I want to insert a new record. So what is this procedure actually? This there are different types of procedures, guys. Procedure without parameters, with parameters. My previous procedure called sp underscore get all employees was without any parameters. But now what I'm doing is I'm going to create a procedure with parameter. Okay, creating a stored procedure or procedure you can say with parameters. This is without parameters. This is with parameters. So what is the purpose of this procedure? Inserting a record into employees table. How to do this? We know how to insert a record, right? Insert into table name value. Same thing we will write it. But this time we are going to make use of our T-SQL knowledge while inserting record. This is very, very important, guys. I will tell you how to, insert a record into table, okay, using stored procedure, and your duty is to, update and delete is your job, guys. How to update, how to delete is uh, work or task you need to practice. Okay, that is what I'm going to show you. So how to do this? So this is a procedure. We are creating a procedure. Create procedure, procedure name, sp underscore add employee. Okay, add employee. That's it. It's easy to understand, right? So that I gave add employee. Whenever you see the procedure name, guys, you should understand the operation that it is able to do. Okay, then so as begin, and this is a common syntax, right? But before as, since we have parameters, right, you need to pass them. How to pass parameters? So at a variable name, okay, what is the variable name that you want to give? You can give it in this next line or in the side by side, guys, it's your wish. So I want to give a ID name salary, right? So I'm giving ID. What type of data type is better for this? Integer type, right? So that I gave integer. At the name, second column, varchar of 30 or 50, whatever is given, you can give it 50 or 30. And then at salary, in money, I gave it, I think so. Money or decimal, whatever is given, decimal 7 comma 2, whatever is given, you give it, same thing. And then, yeah, yeah, city is not there actually. We have only 3 columns here, so only 3 we need to use. So these are the parameters I'm passing as. Okay, you can give it in this single same line like this also, guys. If you are able to understand that model, you can follow that. Okay, so whatever way you like, you give it. The same line means you can give like this. Let me move like. See, guys, you can see these are the parameters that I'm passing. Create procedure sp underscore add employee parameters. Okay, we don't have brackets actually, only for decimal. You can give money or something like this, money also. Let us leave it as decimal, or you can give money type. If it is money type, you give it. For decimal means you give decimal, whatever it is. Okay, now you need to write the insert statement. How to write insert into table name? What is my table name? Employees. Okay, brackets, column names. What are the column names? ID, name, comma, salary, column names. Now values. What are the values? Whatever values that the user is passing through these parameters, those we need to give at the ID, comma, at the name. Okay, comma, at the salary. This is what these 3 parameter names you have to pass. Okay, then only it will allow you to insert the records. Okay, let's run it, execute. Procedure created successfully with parameters. Okay, now you need to execute. How to execute? This time, this creating procedure. Okay, already gave it. Now, how to execute? At the time of executing, you have to pass parameters. Previously, I was just calling execute space procedure name. Okay, that's all. Execute space procedure name. Done. But this time, beside this, you have to pass some parameters. So, how to write it? Execute space or exec also can use it. sp underscore add employees. Okay, add employee, because single employee I'm adding, right? Now it will give you automatically ID, integer, all these you need to pass. Let me check how many rows are there in my table first, because I'm giving a new one, right? Select star from employees. Okay, how many rows we have in my table? Let me check. We have up to 5. Okay, sixth one I'm inserting, so that I'm giving 6. First ID, comma, name in single quotes we need to give because it is varchar column, right? I gave it as Prakash. And then salary I'm giving it as something like 44,000. Dot 00 you can give it optionally. Yeah, let's select it and execute. So one row affected, guys. So we have successfully inserted a record into table using stored procedure. Previously, we were inserting record manually with the insert statement, right? But this time We wrote insert statement inside the stored procedure and we are calling the stored procedure. This is the best way to go because when you're writing backend code, we will call this stored procedure actually. So the person, any hacker is trying to get that code, he or she will get this name of the stored procedure. They don't know what is the code inside the stored procedure. Only the developers, SQL developers or backend developers are able to see the code written for the stored procedure. Okay, that is all about. Now let us check whether we have a record or not in my table. New record is added or not. You can see here, guys. Prakash new record is added successfully in the last. You can see here 6 Prakash 44,000 successfully added. So this is the way to create a stored procedure to insert a new record into table. So what is your task now? You need to try for something called remaining operations. Okay. Like I said, you update and delete you need to do. Okay. Update, you can do it in two ways. Updating a single column and updating to two columns. Okay, like that you can try. How to update a name of an employee by using ID. And how to update the salary of an employee. Two columns. First you do for single column and then you go for multiple columns. Okay. So here I'm giving the code actually. Total code I'm pasting here. Yeah. So now you need to try the tasks, guys. Okay. Let me increase the font size. So I'll share you the notes, like whatever is given, theory part, the PPT I'll share you. Yeah. So tasks, what to do? Create a stored procedure, which display all records from both tables. What are the both tables? Employees and department. Department table you need to create, guys. Employees and department. Employees table and department table. Second one, create a stored procedure to update a record. What is that update record? Employee salary by taking employee ID. Same way, one more thing is, so what is this updating record means? Updating salary. Here, employee name and salary. Two columns. The last one is delete a record. Okay. To delete a record by taking employee ID. Just only one parameter employee ID you're taking, you're deleting the whole record, complete record you're taking. Okay, delete it. So these are the tasks that you need to do, guys. So please do it one by one by using all these examples. And in order to get the code, suppose somebody created stored procedure, then how do we know, sir, the code written by the user? This is very, very important, guys. So in order to get the code written for somebody's, some other stored procedure, what to do? See, guys, where the stored procedures are available in your database, very, very important. How to see the database, stored procedures in database. Suppose I know that I have created a stored procedure here successfully. How many are there? I know now. And I deleted one stored procedure and I created. If you want to create, you can create them again. Suppose I'm creating again because I dropped it, right? So now again I created. Okay, I have two stored procedures. If you want to run it, you can run it. You'll get the output. Okay. So now I want to see how many stored procedures are there in my database. Where can I see? Okay, there are two ways. One is you can write a sp underscore help like that. The table name if you give it, or sp underscore tables means you'll get everything, a tables list. But if you want to see the procedures, you can use sp underscore procedures like that, or you can also see from directly from the object explorer. Just go to databases. And where is our database here? Our database name is tsqldb. Just go to the tsqldb And if you want to see the tables, you can see the tables. See, we have two tables, right? Employees and students. You can see. But if you want to see the stored procedures, we should go to programmability. In this programmability, you will find the important database objects like stored procedures, triggers, functions, all are available here. Database triggers, functions, rules, types, others. Just expand the stored procedures and you will see the stored procedure names here. Okay, suppose somebody closed this, guys. Somebody closed it. Now I don't know what is the code written for add underscore employee. What is the code written for get all employees? How do we see that? If you want to see that, just right click and click on modify. So guys, as soon as you click on modify, you'll be getting the whole code written for this. Use tsqldb go and you can see the code written. Alter procedure, procedure name. See guys, this is the code I wrote it. Everything is coming. So that is the way you can click on modify and you can see the output of the, the code written for any stored procedure. If you want to see, you can do like this. Okay, I want to see like this. See this stored procedure. And you can say, click on modify and see the code written for it. See guys, alter procedure, dbo dot. This is the way that SQL Server will write. Go is to execute, guys. Go is a command to execute all the queries. These are all not mandatory. But look at this code. This is the important code. This is what I wrote it, right? Alter, create procedure, procedure name. Now it is alter procedure. We can modify now as begin and select star for employees. Okay, if you want to modify anything, as I said, you where salary greater than 1 lakh, like that, you can write it here and you can update it if you want to modify. That is said to be modify statement. Right click, modify. So if you want to see the script, you can use like this. Okay, script store procedure create to like this. You can get all these things. Okay, so that's all about important thing, guys. Where stored processes are located, that's the interview question they might be asking you. Then you can say, if you go to database from object explorer, go to the database name that you want to see, and there you will have something called programmability. In that programmability there is something called stored procedures. There you can see the list of stored procedures available. Okay, this is the important point that you need to remember with respect to our interviews. Is it clear? Let us stop recording this. Tomorrow we'll continue with the functions and other topics.